These ropes are a rock climber's safety net, and they've taken them on some of the world's most adventurous journeys. But they don't last long, and they're non-biodegradable. Because of this, they often get tossed into landfills where they sit for decades before breaking down. One teen took matters into his own hands by collecting discarded climbing ropes and turning them into these cool belts, so they can keep on living. How? Stay tuned, because that's where we're checking out in this week's episode. How are old climbing ropes contributing to the climate crisis? What types of ropes are being used, and how do they get turned into belts and accessories? To find out the answers, we'll be talking to a group that's upcycling all of this into this. This is Joshua Fitzpatrick. He's made it his mission to collect discarded climbing ropes and upcycle them into one-of-a-kind heavy-duty belts.
So these ropes typically would just gotten thrown out, and when they get thrown out, they either end up going to landfill or getting disposed of improperly, ending up in oceans or just nature. So this is really bad for the environment because they can break down, make all these microplastics that just get everywhere, and these are bad for animals and humans. So if we can take these ropes and get them out of the landfills and out of the environment, then that really helps the earth.
In 2023, Joshua launched Fitz Outfitters after 5 months of creating the belts. At just 17 years old, Joshua is giving these ropes a new purpose while also reducing their environmental impacts. So how does a climbing rope become a belt? First, the company collects standard climbing ropes from individuals looking to discard it. You just visit the company's website and print out the shipping label. Joshua says the company takes on all shipping expenses to make sure there's no cost to those sending in the rope. The rope is then boxed and shipped to the Fitz Outfitters headquarters. Once it arrives at Joshua's basement facility, it's taken to a laundromat where it's then washed. Once dry, they are hung on another rack where pieces of the rope can be cut to make the belts as the orders come in. Joshua says each rope is around 200 feet when they first arrive at headquarters. When a belt is purchased online, Joshua cuts the correct length. Then the inside of the rope is cut, pulled out, and saved. The rope is then flattened out and run through a sewing machine. Next, the buckle is added and 2 rivets are attached to hold the buckle in place. Ends are then melted to give it a professional look, and the final belt is ready to be sold. Joshua estimates that 30 belts can be made from just one climbing rope. They're available for $30 from the company's website.
So these belts look pretty good. They don't look like they've been made out of recycled material. So this is just a great thing to give them a second life, where instead of getting thrown away, they turn into a real product that people can wear again and again.
It all began when Joshua, a former competitive rock climber, noticed the amount of rope being thrown away in gyms every year and decided to do something about it.
I had started making a couple belts just because I'd seen people doing it, but hadn't really been at company until I started just hearing people talk about these old ropes that they had laying around. Because a lot of climbers knew that these were bad for the environment, so they didn't really want to throw them away, but people just didn't know what to do with them, so they would end up having to throw them away anyways. When people found out that I was making these belts, I could just give them something that they could do with these climbing ropes. I wasn't throwing them away. So it was really just once people started asking me to recycle their ropes, I decided I needed to do something about it.
Not only are the belts preventing the rope from entering landfills, but they're passing on the rope stories.
These belts are different because they're a lot more colorful. They've been used, so they have a big story behind them. Many of these ropes have been used for big wall project things, they've been to Yosemite and been to all sorts of climbing areas. So it's really cool knowing that you're wearing a belt that has this history behind it. And it's also just a second use for these ropes. So you know that by wearing one of these belts, you're doing something good for the environment by keeping them out of the landfill.
So why is this mission so important to Joshua? Climbing ropes are made out of nylon and polyamide materials, which make them very strong and durable. Nylon is non-biodegradable, so it will sit in the landfills or wherever it's left for decades to come. According to researchers at the University of Plymouth, when new and 1-year-old synthetic ropes are used to haul cargo on marine vessels, they release about 20 microplastic fragments per meter. When exposed to heat for periods of time, the materials can release harmful chemicals into the air. And not only that, but sunlight will melt the ropes into small particles that can easily lead to wildlife ingesting the plastic microfibers. To help solve these problems, Fitz Outfitters set a goal to rescue 500 climbing ropes by the end of 2023. In just 9 months, Fitz Outfitters has already recycled 30 climbing ropes and created over 400 belts. In addition to belts, Fitz Outfitters makes bracelets, dog collars, and dog leashes, which can be purchased on Fitz Outfitters' website. Joshua also hopes to work with other companies to recycle the inner piece of the rope. He's unable to use this part because he doesn't yet have the correct equipment.
I've been collecting the little piece I pull out of each rope So none of those have gone to waste. So far, I have about 100 pounds of those that I've saved up. And once I have more of those, I'll be working with companies that can then recycle those into new materials. But I don't have the equipment to do that part myself, so I'm waiting until I have enough to work with another company.
Want to help with your local climbing rope waste problem? Joshua says that anyone interested in donating climbing ropes can be part of his nationwide Recycle a Rope program.
I have a program where they send it to me and I send them a free belt in return and pay for shipping. So that gives them something to do with their climbing rope. I also have bigger programs where universities like Baylor or Syracuse have climbing programs. So once they use up their climbing ropes, they'll send them to me to recycle.
The company's goal is to provide quality goods that will both last a long time and be good for the environment.
There's still a lot of people that don't know about us, so there's still probably a lot of climbing ropes that are just getting thrown away. My main goal is just to give more people like an opportunity to recycle their ropes, and also maybe like expand to other recycling projects.
So what do you think? Do you rock climb? Have you come across old rope? What will you do if you encounter one? Let us know in the comments below.